Welcome to The Edit, home of all things pop culture and entertainment. I'm Tim Bassett.
And I'm Ali Ahmed.
Coming up on today's show, we have our showbiz roundup of today's top stories.
And later, we'll be joined by George, who will be discussing the Halloween film classics that we all love to hate. We also love to be hearing from you guys about your horror dating experiences or just anything horribly embarrassing that you may have happened to you. Makeup is crucial for all Halloween celebrations. YouTuber Natalie Snape showcases her skills with this Corpse Bride look.
From Corpse Bride. I started off with the white circles already around my eyes just so I can map out where the blue and then where the white is going. So this is just a blue face paint that I got from Amazon, and I'm just mixing this with a little bit of water obviously and putting this all over the face, and I blended it onto my chest as well. Now going into the Beauty Bay Bright Mattes palette, I'm just using pretty much the whole line of the blues to throughout this look, and I'm just using some of the darkest ones to go over my eyebrow and then round the edges of the white rings that I've created. This is just because I'm then going to blend in more blues to create almost like a look of eyeshadow on Emily's eyes. Now I've skipped ahead a bit here and I've obviously done the nose and the eyebrows. I just used the LA Girl liner in jet black, just with like a small liner brush. And then I'm applying some eyeshadow on my actual lid. However, I do go and take this off and make that white instead, just to open out the eyes a bit more, because I thought it looked a bit strange. And now I'm just using the same liner and the same brush again, just to go around the whites of the eyes and just applying the long lower lashes. Now I'm using a mix of the shades Bobbing Along and Stormy Night in the same Bright Mattes palette, and I'm just creating these little spots on my forehead and also sort of the lower part of my cheek, where I'm going to put some sort of like scars, I guess you would call them. I'm also just using these two shades around my hairline and also to create some really chiseled cheeks as well. Now I'm just using the same LA Girl liner in jet black and creating the scars or the cuts or whatever you want to think of them as on the forehead and also on the lower part of my cheek near my jaw as well. This is a Fenty Beauty Mademoiselle, I honestly cannot say that. This is in the shade Spanked, I think. I'm not fully sure and I'm not able to check, but it's either Spanked or Single. Now I'm just applying some lashes. These are probably the thickest and fluffiest lashes that I have. They're not something that I would wear every day, and I can't remember the brand or the name of them or anything because I think I just bought them off Amazon purely for the purpose of doing these Halloween looks. Now I'm just using the rest of the blue face paint and I'm doing this over my shoulders and stuff, just because even though the wig is quite long, if my shoulder is peeking out on the photo, it still matches the rest of my face. And then I'm just using some of the dark shadows again. I think this is the shade Illicit and Stormy Night, the blue and the black from the same palette, and just creating some collarbones. And I also go onto my neck and sketch out like a thinner neckline, as you can see here. And then with the wig as well, it sort of covers it up a bit more and gives the illusion that the neck is a lot smaller, like on Emily's actual neck. If you happen to stumble across this video, I'd really appreciate it if you went to my Instagram. I'll put it on the screen now. It's mvs.makeup and liked the photo.
Amazing. Natalie will be joining us shortly to reveal a look that she's been working on in the studio. But coming up first, our top entertainment stories of the day, which we are kicking off with Liam Hemsworth and the Miley Cyrus split that just is getting weirder and weirder and weirder.
Really weird. Like, how is they split up? And then now they're living 2 centimetres away from each other, basically. So,
I feel like they've both dated so many people.
I know.
Like she was with, I can't remember her name now, she's the girl who's married to Brody Jenner.
Oh yeah, I know who you mean, I can't remember the name.
And then he didn't seem like he was dating anyone, and then he was dating someone, and then she's sort of made Cody Simpson relevant again, and it's just sort of been going all up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of bizarre that he wants to leave that close.
I know.
You
I just feel like I can't keep up to date with her. Like, she's always with someone else, someone new all the time, and she's always in the press for something.
I know, it's just getting bizarre though.
Yeah, I know.
I couldn't imagine, like imagine if you were with someone, split up, and then your ex was like, oh yeah, I'm going to build a house
I know.
just down the road.
You're just walking down the street and you just pop into them. I'm just
Maybe it's just so you can
swearing.
watch in the
Yeah.
least weird way, or
I
maybe keep an
know.
eye. But I think it was something that was on the cards before their split because they purchased this other plot of land.
Yeah.
So maybe it doesn't want to lose the money, but it just seems a bit
I mean,
bizarre
he
to me.
could just sell it
He could.
and move somewhere else. But yeah.
He maybe doesn't need the money with all that
I know.
Hollywood millions.
I know, literally. And obviously he's with like Cody Simpson and everything now, so.
I hadn't heard from Cody Simpson. Well, not personally, but I hadn't heard of Cody Simpson in so many years, and then all of a sudden he's so relevant
Well, I
again.
don't really know exactly who he is, to be honest, but I've only recently known who he is.
Miley
from
Cyrus's boyfriend now, apparently.
Yeah, I know. So.
But it's just a bit strange to see how it pans out. But they haven't even been split up that long. I think it's only been a couple of months.
Yeah, I know. It was only recently, wasn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Why was it? Why did they split up?
I think there was nothing really. It was led in the press that it was a lot to do with her obviously going on holiday, and he wasn't aware that they were going to split up. But from her side, I think it always seems she always, I think, tries to make out that he is perfect.
Yeah.
And she's like this big evil monster. So
Yeah,
I think
know.
that's something that.
Because they got married like not long ago.
Last
and then
Christmas?
They split. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just weird how.
9 months later,
Wow.
which is not quite like 72 days
No,
like Kim Kardashian,
no.
but it's not that
Yeah,
far off.
literally.
But no, it's interesting to see how it's going to end and whether or
Yeah.
not there'll be some sort of resolution. I always thought that they'd get back together.
Yeah, I know. I thought they were a nice match. They were like different in different ways. Like she's a bit more like out there,
Yeah.
and he's more like. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so Adele's lost weight.
Yes, a lot of weight.
I know, and I want to know who her PT is, so I can.
I read an article about this. Apparently, it's a certain type of Pilates that she's been doing that apparently
Yeah.
just like burns fat. Well, obviously
Wow.
burns 3 stone of fat,
Wow.
but I think it's because whenever everyone notices that big difference with Adele because no one really sees her that
No,
much.
she's really like low key,
Yeah.
and she comes and just appears from anywhere.
And then she just like pops up here and there
Yeah.
and everywhere. But I think it was especially, she was at a birthday party, I think it was maybe Drake's.
Yeah,
and she had
Drake's
this, she
birthday.
had this like black dress on
Yeah,
and she
her
looks,
hair was really like not 90s, like 80s,
Yeah.
like really really nice.
but no, she looked insane.
She
but
did.
As well has been rumoured to be dating Skepta.
Yeah, I think it's like a revenge kind of body because like
Yeah.
she
Another
like
split,
I
yeah.
know, and you couldn't put Skepta and her together, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought
But-
that was a bit bizarre, but it
Yeah.
seems like a new body, new man,
Yeah.
everything sort of.
But her like Skepta and the ex just really doesn't like they just don't compare to each
not
other.
alike at all.
They're so different from each other, and it's
Although I think for a while, I think Skepta had been dating Naomi Campbell, maybe. I
Yeah.
think was the last one. Whenever I did like. In fairness, I'm not that big up on who Skepta actually is.
well, I actually listen to him quite a bit. He's a good rapper.
What's a Skepta song? I'm trying to think.
Oh, don't put me under pressure. I'm not like that big of a fan, so I don't really know that much. But yeah, I do listen to him.
But it's like I'd never really heard of Travis Scott.
Oh,
Like,
right, yeah.
I wouldn't be like, that's a Travis Scott
Yeah.
song. So I'm
What
not
do you
really.
want to listen to then?
It's definitely not rappers. I'm probably closer to Adele than I would be to
Really?
Skepta, yeah.
Yeah, no, I do love a bit of Adele.
But she also has that new album that apparently is coming out very soon.
I know, I
Which
can't
has a collab
wait.
with Nicki Minaj on it.
Oh wow.
Which it seems like a very odd segue for Adele because everything just seems to
Yeah.
have changed. She's thinner.
I
She's got
know.
a rapper, a
Yeah,
boyfriend. She's
literally. She might be
collaborating with
making
Nicki
new
Minaj, yeah.
music. You
Yeah.
never know.
Well,
Collaborating with Skepta, maybe.
Yeah, well, I think the album will probably be the star of the year. There was talk, but then there's also talk for doing the next Bond theme tune as well. But then how that would fit into an album with Nicki Minaj, I
I
don't
know.
know, because it's
I know.
not a similar one. Whenever we go to UK
Yeah.
showbiz news as well, there was a story during the week about a former EastEnders star who had got a job at a
Yes,
B&M,
I heard of
and
this.
everyone's kind of went nuts.
Yeah.
I think, is it Katie Jarvis?
Yes.
I think everyone had just went nuts about the fact that she had an actual job.
Yeah. Well, she got she was basically like seen on a train, like arguing with her boyfriend. And then
Yes.
she got picked to go on EastEnders because she was.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
No one's
It's
done
really
that to
good.
me, and I'm maybe not that argument. Well, maybe I'll say I'm not that argumentative.
Well, I do argue with a lot of my boyfriend on the street, but yeah,
Relatable then.
I'm not getting scouted.
But and then she had that. She was on EastEnders for a year, had like massive storylines, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden just wasn't on it anymore.
know.
So I don't know.
She might be in a BM near you.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, do you like whenever you watch a soap? No offense to her, but
Yeah.
you like see the characterization they put in. She looks the exact same in
I know.
real life. So
I know.
so they didn't really have much characterization, I don't think, to
No.
work. I think I read as well she has been acting since 2009 because she was in.
wow.
She got her big break in Hollywood, so she was in like a Hollywood film.
Oh, really?
It was like Breaking Glass or something it was called at the time,
Really? I
or
didn't
no,
know that.
Fish Tank. That was what it was called.
Oh, no way.
And then she didn't really work for that often, and
Yeah.
then obviously got EastEnders. But I think she was saying it's not unusual for actors to have to supplement between work.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's not in demand at the moment, but that's not
know.
to say that in the future
Yeah,
she may
no,
be
'cause she's
something
got that
else.
experience now, so she's been on EastEnders, she's been in Hollywood, she'll definitely be out there again.
B&M. Well,
B&M.
I think everyone thought it was a bit bizarre because it's not the fact that she's working in B&M, it's the fact that she's the security team.
Yeah,
So
I know.
and you also wouldn't think if you
I think she'd be a cashier or something.
yeah, like I couldn't imagine her like tackling someone.
No,
for like
tackling someone down.
for stealing something. But who knows? It's just a bit bizarre. But I think
Yeah.
her main issue. I think she did an interview with Victoria Derbyshire as well.
Yeah.
And her main concern was that she felt like she was being shamed for having to work whenever it's a normal thing.
Wow.
You know,
So,
everyone has a job. Just
Yeah.
because you've been on one show doesn't mean you're exempt from that. So.
yeah.
Who knows? Another story that's in
yeah,
the press as well has
Strictly.
been, Strictly. Every week there seems to be something.
I know.
I can never pronounce her name of it. Catherine Tidsley, I think it
Tidsley,
is.
yeah. She was on Coronation Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what her character was called.
Oh.
Eva. That was it.
Yeah. Is she still on Coronation Street?
No, that's she's
right.
done and dusted. So she was doing Strictly there, and
Wow.
was actually really good.
Yeah, I really liked her.
Had never been in the dance off
No.
against someone who had been in the dance off. I think it's either twice or three times.
Yeah.
Obviously not very popular with audiences. I think it's
know.
Mike Bushell who she was against, but
I think she
apparently-
would have been popular just because everyone watches Coronation Street.
Yeah.
And, but
I think there's always something about Strictly. There's always like something going on that
there's
everyone's.
always something going
Yeah,
on.
it's
There's
never.
affairs, there's...
Yeah, a bit of everything.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is as well, it's like the guy Mike who got kept on. He works for the BBC, so I think they had got the judges had got slated a wee bit because they thought it was fixed because obviously he
Yeah.
works for the BBC. It's a BBC produced program, so I don't know. I think maybe she was slightly too good to have went home so early, but then that's
Yeah.
my personal opinion. Obviously,
It's
not
kind
everyone
of
felt like that.
X Factor. That TV news presenter, he wasn't that good.
Is it
Mark-
Bashir? Bashir? Yeah.
And this girl from America,
Yep.
she was like an actress, and she was really, really good. And then there was like a bit of a skeptical about.
Do you put it down that it's just
Yeah.
coincidence, or
Yeah.
is it something else? But I guess maybe whenever they are spending the money, they maybe just want to try and get. I think the guy Mike who got kept on is more of a comedic character,
is,
and I think as
yeah.
the show goes on, they always end up
Yeah.
getting rid of
They do.
the comical act, but
They
they maybe
do.
want to keep him in just for a bit
Just
more
for
entertainment.
yeah. Just like the Love Island group.
I know, bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, like they just want to keep them in just because the
It's
more
like-
views, everything like that. So
I think like I read somewhere they had like a combined Instagram following in that group of about 20 million.
wow.
So I mean, even if they can't sing,
No, the show's getting a lot of press.
Yeah.
A lot of media.
I can't really get in. I'm more of I'm a Strictly fan. So
Really?
like I
I'm
would
more
watch it
X Factor.
every weekend. But
Yeah.
I just can't get into it. But I'm excited for Blackpool. I think is in a couple of weeks for Strictly.
Oh yeah, for Strictly.
Which
yeah.
I think
they
is
always go
probably
there, don't
the
they?
frustrating part as well for like Catherine Tidsley.
know.
I can't keep calling her Tidsley. Tidsley. She's got so close
Yeah,
and just
I
hasn't
know.
quite got there.
Always
But
pulls it back at the last minute.
have you been watching this season? of
I've watched
Strictly?
little bits of it, like my mum like puts it on in the kitchen and
Yeah.
I watch it here and there, but I'm not like a true fan of Strictly. I'm more X Factor.
Yeah, I think it's been good. They've been going between definitely Michelle Visage. I think is one to watch. So it's going to be interesting to see in the next couple of weeks how that sort of pans out.
Yeah.
But no, poor Catherine. I think
I
at
know.
the same time you just have to kind of get on with it and get over it.
Yeah, definitely.
In a roundabout way.
Yeah.
With Halloween only days away, many of you will be heading to the cinema to watch the latest offering of horror and slasher films. Catherine Austin talks us through her top picks for this Halloween.
Good afternoon and welcome to the first edition of the Edits Movie Review, where this week I will be talking all things spooky. Let's start with what's on at the box office this Halloween. This week is the perfectly timed UK premiere of Dr. Sleep, Stephen King's sequel to 1980's The Shining. The young boy from the first movie is this time all grown up in the form of Ewan McGregor. He is still traumatised by events from his childhood, yet he returns to the Overlook Hotel, where he soon finds out that not much has changed. The iconic hotel's TripAdvisor rating certainly hasn't improved, let's put it that way. Fans of the original horror classic will be pleased to know that it has been hailed a worthy sequel, with Digital Spy saying that the film will likely give The Shining fans everything they'd want from a sequel. It is also your last chance to see DC Comics' origin movie Joker at the cinema, which over the weekend beat Deadpool to the title of highest grossing movie of all time that has an R or 15 rating.
Can you please stop bothering my kid?
The hit, which has not been without its fair share of controversy, sees Arthur Fleck, a man who is a failed stand-up comedian, begin a transformation into the clown prince of crime, the Joker from the Batman movies. It has been described as a dark, brutal and twisted movie, not for the faint-hearted. Moving on to something more light-hearted for this Halloween. Last Friday, we were reunited with Gomez, Morticia, Wednesday, Uncle Fester and the rest of the Addams family when they returned to the big screen for the first time since 1998. With an all-star voice cast, including Charlize Theron, Snoop Dogg and Bette Midler, this time the creepy and kooky family return in a 3D computer-animated comedy for the whole family. You can also enjoy Halloween classics from the comfort of your own home this year, with Sky Spooky Channel and Netflix that are showing back-to-back popular movies such as The Sixth Sense, Hotel Transylvania, The Nightmare Before Christmas and Ghostbusters, something for everyone. My personal Halloween recommendation is Seven. Not your typical hide-behind-the-couch movie. This psychological and gruesome thriller follows the incredible Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman as detectives in New York investigating a string of murders, each one relating to one of the 7 deadly sins. A gripping story with many twists and turns, a unique filming style and amazing acting all around. It's definitely one to watch if you can. That's all from me. Happy Halloween.
And now we are joined by film expert, George.
Hi, George.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet
Obviously,
Thank
this
you.
time of year is very big for film buffs, and obviously there's these classics. So talk us through a couple of your top picks, classic-wise, and then what film you would recommend.
Well, there's a lot of Halloween films out there nowadays, and it's you've got to pay attention to some of the classics.
Definitely.
Best ones, some that I can think of, is Halloween, of course.
Oh, yeah.
It's a brilliant film. The story of Michael Myers has become one of the most famous stories in Hollywood, to a little bit of a excessive extent, but the original film is brilliant by far.
Yeah.
There are other films like Hocus Pocus, great film. Casper, Beetlejuice, brilliant film.
Yep.
But there are also a lot of the modern films that I think get a little bit underappreciated in terms of Halloween. One comes to mind, Trick or Treat, or even films released in the past 5 years, like Get Out or even It. They're brilliant films.
Yeah. It too was quite good as well. Like the...
But yeah, Stephen King as well. His work has always been quite admired, especially by horror fans in general. I myself am a massive horror fan. I'm more towards thrillers, which is why I think there are a lot more options when it comes just to Halloween films in general, but IMDb lists sort of just random, like, family-friendly comedies, which don't usually always excite the general horror community, which is why a lot of horror fans get a bit frustrated when they see just a run-of-the-mill horror film coming around at Halloween time. But this year, there have been quite a few very good Halloween films. Like you said, It Too has been very well received. And there are other horror films that have yet to release, such as Dr. Sleep starring Ewan McGregor, which is based off the Stephen King book. And it should be, well, I'm quite excited for it because it should be a stellar performance by Ewan McGregor. It's actually, I don't believe he's done many horror films before, so it might be an interesting thing to see him performing. But as well, another film mentioned before, Get Out, is obviously, I'd say, is one of the greatest horror films made in the past 5 years, if not could be in the top 10 of all time at this rate. Stellar work by Jordan Peele. But his last film from, I believe it was last year or earlier this year, Us, was not well received. Was actually regarded as just... It was not well received at all. I didn't like it personally. I thought it was just a little bit of a rehash from the what worked and what didn't work in Get Out.
It's a very, very bizarre plot. Would you be a fan of obviously at the minute, a lot of horror films are being remade, and Halloween's one of the biggest remakes. Obviously, we're going to get 2 more films. Are you a fan of a remake? Or do you think you can, should they be left alone?
I believe that when it comes to remakes, there's responsibility by the film crew recreating the film. Such one film that has been remade to an extent, obviously, that has worked brilliantly is It, recreated from the television show starring Tim Curry, which was one of the greatest miniseries of its day and of all time, and is, in my opinion, one of Tim Curry's greatest performances. Was brilliantly remade, a brilliant cast in both the first part and second part. Alexander Skarsgård, who is part of the Skarsgård acting family, was brilliantly cast for the role. He was absolutely perfect. But there are just a lot of other Halloween films, or horror films in general, that are remade, and they're just butchered to the point where you can't recognise them compared to the original film. Or there are other films where sequels are used in place of remakes, such as Nightmare on Elm Street or even Friday the 13th, which original films were some of the best and still are some of the best horror films of their time.
When I watch that, I'm scared. Every time I watch it, I'm always just scared of Freddy.
It's one of those films you reach for the pillows. Sort of trying to hide away.
I know, literally, I'm just like this all the time.
There are horror films though. That is the main problem with horror films nowadays. Is that they don't put a lot of effort when it comes to creating a good scare. There's not a lot of effort. And I think there are a lot of other thriller films that have achieved the effect of a jump scare to a much greater effect. One film that I think was mentioned just before is Joker, which is released earlier this month. That isn't even remotely a horror. It is a graphic thriller. It's the best.
An amazing film.
A brilliant film.
I've not watched it yet, so don't spoil it.
Well, we won't spoil it for anyone.
Fantastic.
But they've said that it's about his mental health.
Absolutely.
And it's such a big topic now, isn't it? About
and the
mental health.
character of the Joker, which has been portrayed several different times by different actors, by Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, obviously. Some brilliant actors.
Big question: who's your favourite? Who's your favourite Joker? Say in the past 10 years. There's been quite a few.
There have been some controversial performances. The last performance in Suicide Squad by an actor who I won't mention because it's a very controversial opinion to even associate him as a. But I'd say Heath Ledger.
Perfect. And we'll end on that.
Now, earlier we showed you a makeup tutorial by YouTuber Natalie Snape. Here's a reminder.
I'll do this.
The circles already around my eyes, just so I can map out where the blue and then where the white is going. So this is just a blue face paint that I got from Amazon, and I'm just mixing this with a little bit of water, obviously, and putting this all over the face, and I blended it onto my chest as well. Now going into the Beauty Bay Bright Mattes palette, I'm just using pretty much the whole line of the blues to like throughout this look, and I'm just using some of the darkest ones to go over my eyebrow and then round the edges of the white rings that I've created. This is just because I'm then going to blend in more blues to create almost like a look of eyeshadow on Emily's eyes. Now I've skipped ahead a bit here and I've obviously done the nose and the eyebrows. I just used the LA Girl liner in jet black, just with like a small liner brush, and then I'm applying some eyeshadow on my actual lid. However, I do go and take this off and make that white instead, just to open out the eyes a bit more, because I thought it looked a bit strange. And now I'm just using the same liner and the same brush again, just to go around the whites of the eyes and just applying the long lower lashes. Now I'm using a mix of the shades Bobbing Along and Stormy Night in the same Bright Mattes palette, and I'm just creating these little spots on my forehead and also sort of the lower part of my cheek, where I'm going to put some sort of like scars, I guess you would call them. I'm also just using these two shades around my hairline and also to create some really chiseled cheeks as well. Now I'm just using the same LA Girl liner in jet black and creating the scars or the cuts or whatever you want to think of them as on the forehead and also on the lower part of my cheek near my jaw as well. This is a Fenty Beauty Mademoiselle, I honestly cannot say that. This is in the shade Spanked, I think. I'm not fully sure and I'm not able to check, but it's either Spanked or Single. Now I'm just applying some lashes. These are probably the thickest and fluffiest lashes that I have. They're not something that I would wear every day, and I can't remember the brand or the name of them or anything because I think I just bought them off Amazon purely for the purpose of doing these Halloween looks. Now I'm just using the rest of the blue face paint and I'm doing this over my shoulders and stuff, just because even though the wig is quite long, if my shoulder is peeking out on the photo, it still matches the rest of my face. And then I'm just using some of the dark shadows again. I think this is the shade Illicit and Stormy Night, the blue and the black from the same palette, and just creating some collarbones. And I also go onto my neck and sketch out like a thinner neckline, as you can see here. And then with the wig as well, it sort of covers it up a bit more and gives the illusion that the neck is a lot smaller, like on Emily's actual neck. If you happen to stumble across this video, I'd really appreciate it if you went to my Instagram. I'll put it on the screen now. It's mvs.makeup and liked the photo.
And now Natalie's here with us in the studio to show us what she's been working on.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I'm good,
Natalie,
thank
talk us
you.
through this look.
Okay, so this is like sort of a last minute Halloween idea. You could literally do this in 20 minutes, half an hour, as long as you got the right products. So what we've just done is a normal base, so your foundation, concealer, and then I've used a eyeliner and just done all the sort of traditional pop art lines. So
Yeah.
you've got the
That's
eyebrows with like the little sort of indent there, your nose, your
It is amazing.
your chin, yeah. And then we've used a really bold colour like the red for the lips. And then also used a liquid eyeliner. You could equally use shadow for that to just do like the tears under the eyes. And then luckily I had a white liquid lipstick to do the dots, but you could easily just use like a little circular brush and be able to put all the dots. But yeah, it's like
so
a good last minute sort of Halloween makeup, I think.
Yeah, I think no one really goes for something like this either. I've never seen it before.
It's quite unusual, yeah.
Yeah, people just go for.
But it is actually
Devils.
simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And how many products with this has this look taken?
So I used a white liquid lipstick, I used a red liquid lipstick, I used the liner, and then I also used a blue liner for the under the eyes, but you, like I said, you could use a blue shadow, so what's that for?
Yeah.
And then obviously you've got your normal base as well.
So it's quite easy, everyone can really do
and
it.
I think it's stuff that people would have lying around.
Yes.
Because if you've not got like the lipstick, like I had to do the white dots, you could easily find, paint like £2 to buy a little...
Tipex.
I put Tipex
Tipex, oh my God. Please don't put that on your skin. But yeah, a little
don't.
white face paint, which is like £2 from any supermarket.
Yeah.
I think you
Really,
could
really
achieve
nice.
it really quickly, yeah.
Yeah. And what was the price of the products? Would you say? What have you used?
Well, I use like ones from my own collection, which are a bit more expensive.
Yeah.
But the eyeliner is like £5, and I'm sure you can find pretty much everything
Dupes.
from like Superdrug, Boots, any drugstore place, to be able to recreate it. You
Yeah.
don't need to find high-end things
High-end,
for
yeah.
that.
And obviously we've looked at this look, and we also looked at the Corpse Bride look.
Yes.
And that was really, really good as well.
You have other YouTube videos for this time of year, yeah?
I do have a couple more. I mean, I've filmed quite a lot, and then I literally just throw them up, put a voiceover with them. And then after Halloween, I think I'll do more sit-downy sort of ones and actually talk through products.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, doing a time-lapse is a lot easier
Yeah.
to like achieve like a good video for
Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple
something.
minutes.
Is it just makeup videos that you do, or is it more? Is it
Yes,
anything else?
so
Just makeup.
yeah, just makeup really. I'm hoping to do like a course and get fully qualified for it, and then I
Yeah.
can sort of do it as like a nice little earner on the side.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I just like doing it myself. I'll do it for my friends a little bit as well.
Yeah.
I don't charge anything at the moment.
No.
But yeah.
Well, you can tell your makeup is
It's amazing.
beautiful.
Perfect.
So
And
nice.
while you're here as well, in the spirit of Halloween, we
Yeah.
wanted to reach out to people and hear what they had to say. So we've got a couple of horror stories that people have sent us in. Horror stories relating to dating, nothing like
Perfect.
too scary. So
Let's
we
hear what they
have
have to say.
one that was sent in by Kushla Rice. If I can find this one. It's a very Irish name. So her horror dating story was me and this guy called Christian. They went to go and see Peter Rabbit, and she wrote that was pretty horrific on its own.
Yeah, who goes to see Peter Rabbit?
Yeah.
I think also to start off, it's quite hard going on a first date to a movie because you can't talk.
Talk.
I went to see The Quiet Place with someone once, and that was just like
Yeah, you
Maybe not the
literally-
best. Yeah, set in the romantic vibe. She was like children and parents, then us. So they went in, and it was like family day out. Didn't realize it was a musical. And he tried to put his arm around me, which was uncomfortable. Then they went to a pub. I got drunk and fell asleep for an hour on the toilet, and they had to get a screwdriver to open the door. He was sat there on his own for over an hour, and
my
I started trying to roly-poly down the hill on the way home.
she sounds like a laugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really love.
I just also love the
Gone
fact she
out,
ended
okay.
this with "You're welcome, kiss kiss." I think as well.
Do you have any?
Yeah.
Dating story wise.
Anything that
That's horrific.
we'll say horrific.
That you can remember that's like scarred you, basically.
To do with dating.
We want something really raw, really raw.
Is it too embarrassing?
It's not necessarily embarrassing, it's just that.
Well, I have one
Explicit.
as well
Let's go with that.
from Olivia Davis, who I don't know if you can see this on the camera. This is long, like very
Long
very long.
essay of her experience, basically.
This has to
Like,
be
look
good
at this.
then.
So I don't know if I can go through this. We'll be here for another hour. Let's see. She was like, yeah, so I did a Camp America 2 years ago, and I stayed in a place called Regis College. We never knew this space was known to be haunted. So yeah, anyway, one morning my roommate asked me if I heard laughing the previous night, and I thought she was going crazy, and I started laughing and said it was probably me laughing in my sleep, which I've never heard that before. And she still didn't believe her, and she was like, no, it wasn't coming from your room. Then one night I woke up, and I couldn't even open my eyes or anything. It was horrible, just the burst of laughter, and it honestly sounded like it came from the middle of our room. So I wake up the next morning, and I looked at my friend and said, Chloe, and she just knew straight away. And so what so far we've got, it was like this random laughing noise. Anyways, they Googled the place and asked people in the area, and it is known for being haunted. This summer round, they've not let anybody stay in the room they were staying in, or in the same corridor, or nobody knows why. Also, the day we were leaving, we had a little walk in cupboard, and I grabbed this plastic bag off the ledge in there, and instead of pulling out the plastic bag, I pulled off the wall rosemary beads.
Oh, that's horrible.
That's
It's
so
like something out of a
unlucky.
film.
I know.
I also love that Olivia sent me the link on TripAdvisor to this place, as if now
Give it a
I'm
negative
like-
gonna
rating.
want to
Don't
stay
go.
there. There was also a story that Olivia also sent about there's one time she was sick in an airport in front of the junior England squad. So she-
It was the Man City squad.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she was trying to be all cool and like I think
Yeah,
she's
she's
like
only 13, so.
Oh, that's fine. That gives you a pass.
Yeah.
for whatever reason she just projectile vomited everywhere.
Oh,
So
God.
not a good end.
No, definitely not.
Perfect. So that's all we have time for today. Thanks for watching and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.